Welcome, murderers! It's Amanda coming at you with another episode of The Wandering Crow. And don't worry, Cameron's here too. I just had to do an impromptu recording of an introduction for part 2 of Spirit Ladies of the Land. Where we left off last time was in talking about women in white from around the world, and specifically the Mexican legend of La Matlacihua. So stay tuned, because right around the corner is a story.
There is a medicine story that tells of Crow's fascination with her own shadow. She kept looking at it, pecking at it until her shadow woke up and became alive. Then Crow's shadow ate her. Crow is dead Crow now. Join us as we attempt to look through the wandering crow's eye to find the gateway to the supernatural, to seek to know the unknowable mysteries of creation. Welcome to the Wandering Crow podcast.
And this recording comes from Multighost WordPress. This is about La Matlacihua. This Multighost WordPress is it's like a Mexican, like this person examines Mexican monsters, and her name is Nina Zumel. She wrote this in a place called Folklore Folktale. I do have a link to that, and we'll make sure we put that in the show notes, but it's pretty interesting. So, the legend of La Matlacihua. Once upon a time, in the town of Santa Maria Sola de Vega, Oaxaca, there was a young man named Jose Antonio who really liked the ladies. Ugly, pretty, fat, thin, tall, short, single, married, or widowed. For Jose Antonio, it was all the same. He was tall, fair, and graceful, with a thick, well-trimmed mustache. He liked his women plentiful and his mezcal by the bottle. His father was a simple cowherd, who, when he saw his son in trouble, would say to him in a stern voice, "Someday, Jose Antonio, God will punish you for deceiving women. Look at you. You're never at home. You don't work. And one of these days you'll have a terrible scare. You go out at night and return at dawn. Something will happen to you. Take care, son. And always pray to God to protect you." "Yes, Papa. But don't you start on the same old, you should stop making love to the women. After all, I am a man." And Jose Antonio laughed at his father, then sauntered out of the house, leaving his poor father talking to himself.
That's a hell of a thing.
But then, one day Jose Antonio fell in love. He stopped making love to every woman who passed, but he didn't stop his hard-drinking lifestyle. One night, he got drunk and wandered home in the rain at 3 a.m. On the road home, he saw what he thought was his girlfriend, dressed in a white dress that showed off her figure, with her long hair loose and falling down past her waist. She smiled and beckoned to him, and he followed, never realizing that she was La Matlacihua, or La Bandolera. Never realizing, that is, until his drunkenness wore off and he saw her true, death-like skeletal form. Then he began to scream. But it was too late. La Bandolera dragged him up the hill, beat him and scratched him until he was half crazy from pain and terror. The workers from a nearby hacienda, frightened by Jose Antonio's screams, ran to their master. The old man recognized the terrified voice behind the screams. "It's that bastard Jose Antonio. It sounds like he's being hacked to death by a machete. Quickly, let's go find him." They all went out searching with lighted torches, combing the entire plain without finding him. Finally, they climbed the hill. As they climbed, they realized that the screams were coming from a high crag above them that was covered with spiny cactus. Only the bravest of the men dared to scale the steep cliff, and when they reached the peak, they found Jose Antonio completely naked and covered with deep scratches, as if a tiger had raked his entire body with its claws. They took him back down the hill, back home to his father. After this experience, Jose Antonio no longer wanted to go out with the girls, not the ones who tried to flirt with him, not even his beautiful girlfriend. for fear that she was really La Matlacihua in disguise.
Okay.
What?
I'm sure I'm gonna say something that you kind of agree with. He didn't. He stopped. He was faithful.
Yeah, I know. He was.
She's punishing him after the crime that he no longer is committing.
I know.
To the point where he is no longer loyal to his girlfriend.
Yep. Yeah, you're totally right. That's exactly what happened. Well, I mean...
Maybe you shouldn't start in the trenches and pull yourself out, but if you are pulling yourself out, why be punished?
Okay, fair point. Let me finish the story real quick, and then let's talk about that. Jose Antonio told everyone that La Matlacihua had the face of death, and that she told him she was punishing him for playing with women, and if he kept on with his behavior, she would come back. And this time, she would take him with her. At night, he screamed like a crazy man that he saw a woman dressed in white who was calling him to her side to love her. His father didn't know what to do, seeing his son suffer so badly. Finally, one night, he went out searching. He had to find this evil woman, La Matlacihua. The full moon lit up the whole plain as he walked the roads, hoping to meet her. He walked until nearly dawn without ever finding her, because La Matlacihua only preys on men who are drunk. Exhausted, Jose Antonio's father returned home. On arriving at his house, he saw a woman outside calling to his son, and he fired his gun at her, but the gun jammed. The woman suddenly disappeared, and then his gun began to fire. It was too late. The woman was gone. So, Jose Antonio's father ran like mad for the church and brought back the priest to bless the house and Jose Antonio so that La Matlacihua would leave them in peace. And so Jose Antonio slowly recovered with the help of his father and the village priest. So for me, and especially with what you said there, he turned his behavior around, right? He wasn't a faithless man. He was just a drunk. He had some questionable, some people might consider that immoral behavior, this drinking stuff.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But, do you remember our episode about spirit possession?
Okay, yeah.
He opened the door for an evil spirit to attach to him. And what she wanted, if you're going to keep up with your behavior, I'm going to take you with me, right? And she was following him, and she split him up from his girlfriend. And he was totally terrified about what was going to happen. So maybe this is...
He essentially planted the seeds so that she could take him.
She could take him later. He opened the door by drinking, and she forced it even wider, trying to take him. So I do wonder if in this case we're talking about more of like a demonic type entity, and we're talking less about a punisher and less about a vengeful spirit, and more something that wanted to take his soul. I don't know.
Something that's sort of playing into that lore to sort of mess with his mind psychologically to get him to mess up again.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that is definitely interesting.
So, and after the priest came, he got better. He was fine again. It took a while, but he did get better.
As it would.
As it would.
A spiritual leader then blessing you and shooing away these forces that you previously invited into your life. Yeah.
Unintentionally, but he did. He opened a door. So here's another one. Oh my gosh. So that was an old one. That was, I don't even know. Like this is a folktale that was told. This one comes from a website called Mexico Unexplained, and I'll have a link to this too. And this is actually a real life encounter from October of 2017. So not that long ago, guys. So this is a Mexican writer. His name is Abdel Chincoya. He wrote this, and it was published in a magazine. It's been translated from Spanish. And I didn't translate this. It was already translated. So he says, Abdel says, last weekend I visited Oaxaca with two friends who were a couple. We had dinner under the portales, we tried the mole, and I left for the hotel in good time. I let my companions continue their evening. During their stroll, they encountered a beautiful young woman in a typical blanket blouse who offered them crafts to take home with them, so my friends agreed to buy them. They were distracted for a moment looking for money, and the woman disappeared. A voice whispered in their ears, want your pay. I want your soul. For a moment they froze and did not see anyone. They felt they had lost their breath. As much as they tried to move, their body did not react, and their skin was prickly and pale. The next day, Chincoya, this is Abdel, and his friends asked the locals. He's no longer talking, by the way. Someone's kind of summarizing. The next day, Chincoya and his friends asked the locals if others had similar encounters with the strange woman. A few nodded, and a few chuckled. What happened was a genuine 21st century sighting of La Matlacihua, according to the official Oaxacan tourism website. So this is like part of their tourism bureau talking about this. The Matlacihua is a spirit of an evil woman dressed in white who appears late at night into the early dawn, who preys on intoxicated or lonely men. La Matlacihua is very beautiful and entices her victim to follow her. The prime time for her to lure away the drunk man is between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. A man who is under her influence may have very little memory of the event afterwards and often snaps out of his trance state if he walks into something or stumbles. Those who do not snap out of it are never seen again. The legend of La Matlacihua, like so many modern-day legends in Mexico, may date back thousands of years. The modern name of this phantom woman, Matlacihua, derives from Nahuatl, the language of the Aztecs. Her name was once Matlacihua, which loosely translates to the woman who traps. As the Matlacihua legend is not found in central Mexico, the Aztecs probably gave their own name to an older local legend when they conquered the valley of Oaxaca in the late 1400s. So again, we're talking about pre-Spanish conquest. They must have seen some similarities between the La Matlacihua and the wife of their own god of death, the Mictlantecuhtli. Oh my god. I'm going to try that again. Mictlantecuhtli, a goddess named Mictecacihuatl. Dear Mexican people, I'm very sorry. I will not attempt that again. For more information about this entity and his wife, please see Mexico Unexplained episode 170. And I will definitely have a link to that because it's extremely interesting. So, we kind of talked about this already earlier, but that's amazing. This is a legend which goes back thousands of years and has kind of been renamed throughout history, but we know, or at least the Mexican people know, that she existed during the time of the Aztecs, before the Spanish conquistadors came. It demonstrates that this is a being, that this is not some, this is not some example of stories being passed down and mixed and traded between cultures. This is not like the Lady of White was adopted. She was already there. And I love that. Like, for me, that is amazing because it again points to kind of my theory, my idea that we have categories or like species of creatures that exist in this other plane, and they're not all the same creature. Like sometimes they are, but a lot of times they're not. They're species. Like it's a type. It's really interesting. I don't know. What did you think of that story? It was a little
between
tame.
1 and 3 is kind of funny because in Mexican tradition, the witching hour isn't just an hour. It's between 1 and 3.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense to me.
This is essentially the bruja of their legends. So this is a blanketed thing. Either it is a spirit that is posing as, or this is one of their, why they fear bruja so much. Because I don't think they really see them as people as much as they are like the jinn of Arab culture.
Wait a minute. I thought a bruja was a real person. Bruja means witch.
It's supposed to be. But I think that it's kind of interchangeable in Hispanic culture. That they don't really see. I think it's like a natural born, like it's almost a cryptid.
What?
It's not really seen as like a religion as much as it is a being.
No. But wait a minute. So you're saying that the bruja is like, it's kind of like a cryptid, entity type creature.
It's almost like people can
And
elevate themselves to
it's also
being.
oh, interesting. Well, because I know for a fact, I know people who claim, I am a bruja, I am a Mexican witch. Like, that's what they mean when they say that.
And I think that's appropriate if you're actually a follower of like the faith. But I think for like internet language comes to mind, normies. I think that bruja is interchangeable with like their version of, say, a jinn. I think that they blanket that term. So I think bruja, if you know what you're talking about, is a witch.
Okay.
Bruja, if you don't know what you're talking about, is a demon or entity, a dark being that is human in origin, but has supernatural power.
Sort of evolved beyond human.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if that's the way that it's used, then yeah, that tracks to me. That makes sense. It fits.
It's my opinion on the translation. I don't know. I'm not Mexican, but it kind of seems like through the lore, that's kind of how it kind of comes off.
Well, I mean, one of my most favorite shows of all time is Paranormal, Caught on Camera, and there have been more than one occasion where there's like these human-shaped creature thing, I don't know, blob, floating through the air and like flying at a direct vector and not being impacted by the wind around it, like cutting through the wind and continuing on a straight path. And it's like human-looking, these things, and like more than one of them. But one of them, they did say, well, it's definitely a witch.
They call it the bruja. Yeah, the brujo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've at least heard it used that way when I really think about it. So you might not be wrong. But we're not Mexican, so Mexican friends, help us out. Contact us at wanderingcrowpodcast@gmail.com and let us know if we got it wrong or we got it right, or if there's things that we were missing.
Also, same woman, Rosa, that called me brujo, she also said violame. If you would care to properly translate that for me.
Yes. All right.
I have been told by one of my exes that it's not what I thought it meant.
What, brujo?
No, violame.
Violame?
She told me it meant dance with me. And that girl laughed and she said, well, sometimes Mexicans play jokes on English speakers.
Yeah, because bailar is to dance.
She said bailame, and I thought it meant dance, but apparently it's like dirty.
Maybe it's an innuendo, or maybe it's like a double entendre. Dance with me between the sheets, maybe she meant.
I don't think so.
I mean, who knows? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. So those are the women in white of South America. Most of them. Oh, and okay, well, we'll get to that. But then, like I said, she exists all over the world. And I know that there are Japanese women in white, and I know that there are Russian women in white, and I know for a fact we've got United States women in white. There's lots of them.
And again, I do think that's either it's something that's reoccurring because it happens and it is symbolism at its finest. You have your virgin woman, your maiden, a woman that was innocent by all means, but had something terrible happen to her. And so she's therefore portrayed as a woman in white. But I think that culturally it has been used as a cautionary tale in most situations.
Yeah. What's interesting about that white dress thing is, at least in Japanese culture, I was reading about it a little bit, even though I didn't take copious notes on it. But in Japanese culture, women in white are dressed in white because people are buried in white. Like, white is an unlucky color, if I remember correctly. So you would never, ever get married in white because it's like a death color.
Really?
So in Japanese culture, white is not about purity. White is about evil. It's about death. It's like a pure representation of something that's dead.
Is it that it's evil, or is it that they're venerating their dead? You would never wear white. You would never get married in white because it invites disaster. because it's so pure, it will get sullied.
Huh. Maybe I got it confused because I just Googled the color white in Japan and it says white is a popular color in Japanese culture because it's symbolic of purity.
There we go.
So, what the hell?
It's because you would bury your dead as in white as a form to honor them. Because it won't be sullied.
I got my Asian cultures confused. Ooh, apologies.
Well, never mind then. That's still weird. Why would the Chinese...
According to Quora, the color white is associated with death in Chinese because white is seen as a color for peace. We all wear white traditionally during a funeral so as to let the soul leave peacefully and keep the vibe, they say.
Oh, well, yeah. No, that's still the same idea of what I was saying.
I don't remember where I read that then about white. But still, like, white is associated with a funeral. So to, like, have a woman in white is, like, a clear indicator that, oh, this is a woman that died because they get buried in white. It's also the color of mourning. So, I don't know. Anyway. But it is also purity, which is, okay, well, never mind then. I retract my statement. The Pontianak, and it's Pontianak. This is a Malaysian lady in white. Now, interestingly, when I Google Pontianak, what came up was a city in Indonesia called Pontianak. And I was like, wait a minute, what? So Indonesia has a creature which is exactly a Pontianak called a kuntilanak. And the Pontianak and the kuntilanak as an entity are the same. And she is the very dangerous spirit of a woman, which is from Malay and Indonesian mythology. She's also from Singapore. She comes from the spirit of women who die during childbirth, and they become these vampiric type ghosts. They are active at night, and during the day, the Pontianak actually lives inside of banana trees, which is interesting because that's not the first time I've heard of trees being home for some malevolent entities. The Pontianak locate their prey by sniffing clothes that are left out to dry, which is why Malaysian people refuse to keep their clothes outside at night. That is so interesting. The Pontianak will kill its victims by digging their sharp nails into the victim's stomach and devouring their organs. They usually announce their presence through baby cries. It's said that if the cry is loud, she's far away. If it's soft, that means she's actually really close. It's
That's
also
horrifying.
said... Isn't that scary?
Like, okay, wait. So one of my exes, I don't know if you remember her, Laura.
Maybe? That name sounds familiar.
So we were on the lookout and we heard a baby crying.
Oh.
And it was really quiet. It sounded like it was really quiet. It was coming from like a saguaro cactus, not like 20 yards away.
Oh, really?
And we kind of wanted to look for it, but it was on a cliff, so like we couldn't really get too close anyway. And we weren't sure if it was a baby or like a dog whimpering. We didn't see anything that would have been making that noise. So with that context, I'm really interested to hear where you go with this, because yikes. It was very quiet.
Well, I mean, that's kind of it. So the Pontianak, so she announces herself by making the sound of a baby cry. And if the cry is loud, she's far away. But if it's soft, then she's right behind you. Although it's also said that if you hear a dog or wolf howl, then she's very far away. But if the dog or wolf is whimpering, then she's nearby.
Yeah, it sounded like either a puppy whimpering or a baby kind of like cooing and crying. It wasn't loud though.
Yeah. Which
they was why we were more concerned.
What I kind of love about this is it's like very clear in the legend and the lore that the Pontianak is more than just one entity. They are women who died in childbirth. They announce their presence through this. They are described as being pale-skinned women with long hair who are dressed in white. They also have long, sharp nails and also have an awful stench. So there's more than one of them.
It smelled like a skunk.
Oh, did it? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, dude. I don't know how she got to Arizona, but I think you may have encountered a Pontiac or something
I
like
knew
her.
enough about a crying woman to not approach.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, this sounds supernatural, so let's look around, but let's not really get too close.
That's
But
crazy,
it did
dude.
sound like it was maybe 20 yards away. It was
Ooh.
right there,
Yikes,
and it was
man.
quiet.
Ew. Yikes. So that's pretty much all I have about her, but I was really interested in, like, why the hell? How did it end up that there's also a city by this name? So it turns out, okay, so the Pontianak is derived from myths and folk tales, some of which are very, very popular in Kalimantan, which is also known as Borneo. Being one of the most famous pieces of Indonesian folklore, it inspired the name of a capital city in the western Kalimantan region called Pontianak. The city of Pontianak had a long history and was founded and infested by ghosts until Syarif Abdurrahman al-Qadri fended off the ghosts. So this guy shows up, he fends off the ghosts. Well, the city was founded by ghosts. It was ghosts that lived there. This guy shows up, he fends off the ghosts, and then he built a palace and a mosque right there. But it said that, the ghosts continue to haunt the place, and it's supposed to be a pretty cursed, very haunted place. It says today the place is covered in trees, and the locals still believe the trees are haunted by the Pontianak. It's tradition to shoot carbide cannons made from logs to pay tribute to the Sultan. So,
All right,
anyway.
so murderers, if you want to have a group trip one day and let's all go to the Pontiac, let's make plans.
Pontianak. That would be a fun trip, actually. That would be really cool.
Us and the viewers, we've got 10 of them
We've
currently.
Got 7
so
at this point. Yeah.
That could be a good trip.
All right. I'm watching the time. So I'm going to skip a few of these, to be honest. So I had a couple of more. A lady who's got a whisk or a spoon for a leg. And to be honest, she wasn't the only one who had a weird implement as a leg. Then we've got something called the Marimonda, or the Madre Monte, which to me, if I'm translating correctly, means Mother Mountain. She's like a nature spirit. She seems pretty interesting. So we're moving kind of away from the woman in white and moving into other things. These other predatory ladies of the land. One of them is called Deer Woman, and she's actually considered something of a cryptid. And I was really excited to learn about Deer Woman because Deer Woman exists more in the area of the Appalachia area. She's kind of more in the middle of the United States. And it made me wonder if the misidentification of all these deer-like creatures that people are saying are skinwalkers, maybe they're deer women. So the deer woman, also sometimes known as a deer lady, is a spirit known in Native American mythology, and her associations, her qualities, what she does, and her behaviors, if she's good or bad, pretty much depends on the situation and the relationships. It depends on the culture. But in general, men who have harmed women and children are her target. She's vengeful and murderous towards those kinds of men, and specifically is wanting to lure those men to their death. She appears as either a beautiful young woman with deer feet, or sometimes just as a deer. And I believe Deer Woman, no, I may be making that up, but I thought that Deer Woman also, instead of having eyes that are on either side of her face, like a prey animal, her eyes both sit in the front of her face the way a predator's eyes are situated. So her eyes are a little bit different, more like a wolf. But I maybe am conflating two different stories together. They are found in multiple indigenous American cultures. These stories are often told to young children and preteens in the community. So like the Lakota people, the Ojibwe, Opunka, Omaha, Cherokee, the Muskogee, Seminole, Choctaw, Oktoi, Osage, Pawnee, and the Haudenosaunee have documented stories of these deer women and sightings of deer women. Now, a deer woman is considered one of the little people. And in Native American mythology, the little people, well, we've talked about this before, Cameron. The little people are like very similar and could probably be considered the equivalent to the Fae folk. So, a Native American little people are, they can be malevolent towards human, and they can be malevolent towards humans, and sometimes they're ambivalent, sometimes they're helpful. As long as nature is respected, they tend to be okay. When spiritual rules are broken, the people who incur the wrath of the deer woman and her uncle Thunder will soon die. So some people describe sightings of her as being a sign of personal transformation, or sometimes like a personal warning. Other times, she's actually there to come get you. So again, it's kind of like that banshee kind of myth. Is she like there as a portent of doom, or
well,
is she like,
and this is the
like
little person, right? Not this
Mm-hmm.
isn't the horse-faced woman.
No,
that I
this is
saw.
not horse-faced woman. No. We're transitioning. We're getting there. I started with deer woman first, but yeah. And what's really interesting is, I didn't realize this, but there's a show called The Res Dogs. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, it's a good show.
I really want to watch it now.
So
Apparently, they have in the Res Dogs this character arc of a creature of the deer woman. So she appears in several episodes here and there. And in season 4, she like shows up pretty big as like some big part of the storyline, I guess. I would like to watch it, and people seem to really enjoy the show. But one of the stories, sorry,
it's a
go
comedy.
ahead.
It's funny. I recommend it. They have a version of me, essentially. They're 0.5% Native American.
Oh.
I have some Native in me too. The guy's a joke. He's funny. But go ahead. It's a comedy largely. If you're going into it, it's not for spooks. It's a funny show. It's worth the watch, though. It's good.
But so there was a Reddit thread that talked about it, and I'm actually probably going to skip that. But there's a local story that I have.
You're gonna skip the Res Dogs Reddit?
Well, it's not. I'll say it, but then I'm probably going to edit out. So from the Reddit thread, there's a commenter, and unfortunately I have the link to the thread, but I don't have the actual like name of the person who wrote this comment. So that sucks. I hate it when I do that. So this person says, the first episode of season 4 immediately made me think of the legend of the deer woman. I'm not familiar with the tribal legends of the Inupiat, but our legends of deer woman would absolutely fit several themes. There are a few versions, but generally she's a human woman who is transformed into a vengeful spirit after being sexually assaulted and or murdered. Other versions say she's a benign spirit who will help women, especially with fertility issues, and bring justice to cruel men. That, coupled with the drawing Darwin made, and the quotabate Navarro having, quote, a thing about women being harmed, quote, definitely brought her to mind. Vengeful, deadly, and likely to lure men to the deaths. I definitely see shades of her. Who is the center of this case? Annie, a midwife, and an MMIW. I don't know what that means. So she talked about the show and how seeing that really made her think, I wonder if they don't directly say this is a deer woman, like they don't make it really obvious, but they sort of only imply it. And that's why this person said, man, this really matches some of the stories I was told about what the deer woman is.
I mean, it probably does, but they have supernatural bits in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this scene where he sees his great ancestor, and he fought in the Great War of this and this battle. He still portrays it in a comedic light. The guy is basically just, he still behaves like they do now. And he's like, I was in the Great War of the Pontiac tribe, and I tripped and hit my head on a rock, and I died before the actual battle. But,
That's funny, I guess. That's actually really sad. Well, yeah.
It's a damn good show. It's
when is it on?
Hilarious.
How do I watch it?
I don't know. I'd Google it. I would Google it. Okay, I think it's on Hulu. I think I watched parts on YouTube.
Yeah,
has like some pretty good scenes, but The few scenes I saw were shared to me by Donovan from Instagram. He linked me a couple of clips because he was making fun of me. But
That's fair. All right, so I have a Lakota story. Among the Lakota people, Dear Woman is called Enukite. The daughter of the first man and first woman was a beautiful young woman named Ite, which means face. Tate, wind, fell in love with her. They married and had quadruplets, who were the four winds. Tate wished to become a god and enlisted the aid of the Inktomi, the trickster spider, who caused the sun to fall in love with Ite. At a celebration, Ite sat in the place of the moon, the sun's wife. To punish her disrespect, the sky cast Ite down from heaven to the earth. Half of her face became ugly, and her name became Enukite, double-faced woman, or Winyin Nupa, double woman. Enukite appears to men in dreams or visions, either as a single deer or two deer women, a white-tailed deer and a black-tailed deer. Her two different sides symbolize appropriate and inappropriate sexual relations. Men that have sex with her are believed to go insane, while women that dream of her will have strong powers or sexual attraction, or can gain artistic powers if they make a wise choice in the near future. So, I have some links to that. And then...
what if men actually fall in love with her?
I don't know. I don't know.
Unheard of.
If they do more than just have sex with her, I don't know. It doesn't say. I did find a modern-day deer woman that I shared with Cameron, and it was hilarious. Apparently, there was this meth head woman somewhere in... where was she?
I mean, if that's the modern-day depiction, I understand why people don't fall in love with her.
So I was searching for deer woman, and this is what came up. And it's a story called Meth Woman Trains Deer to Attack Hunters. So she...
okay, it makes sense now.
She would take fawns into her home and raise the deer with the intentions of training them to attack hunters. She was eventually taken into custody. At the time of the arrest, she was in possession of several grams of meth, 4 deer, and many different broken electronics. A homeowner followed one of the deer back to Watkins' residence in an attempt to recover his property. He found himself face to face with Watkins, this is the lady, who was wearing only a duct tape bikini, and she was disassembling his clock radio. So that's how she was found out. So, just meth head doing meth things. Nothing strange here.
That's her version of chilling.
It's just... drugs are bad. Don't do them, please. Anyway.
What are you doing? Oh, I'm just disassembling a radio. Don't worry, I'm not training the deer to kill you or anything now. Right now.
Nope. Not at this exact moment. So, the deer woman brings me, I feel like we can transition nicely to the horse face lady. And Cameron, do you want to retell your encounter with this woman with the horse face?
My God, does that directly translate over? Because now I'm concerned.
What?
So, all right, when I was younger and I was in high school, I used to see deer-faced woman often in my night terrors.
Deer-faced or what?
Deer-faced.
She had a deer face?
Horse. It was skeletal remains. There were no antlers, so it could have been a doe. It could have been still a deer, but I thought it was a horse.
Okay.
I got the distinct idea in my head at the time that this was a woman with an attractive body, and her head was that of a skeletal horse. And I would actually see her a couple of times, like when I was really tired, sort of like in your mind's eye, where you don't actually see them, but it's like it's like your imagination sort of plays tricks with you between the light and the shadows. I would see her in the desert, the wash between our house and the reservation that was there. Mm-hmm. Well, so there were a few nights that I'd see her in my night terrors. And one of the nights I discussed this with, actually Laura, the same one that we heard the crying. Oh. And we were out front talking about it, and we were having some cigarettes. You know, a couple of rebellious kids, and she's like, "It's funny that you say that because I wasn't going to say anything, but I thought that I saw it too when I was sleeping."
Oh.
And she described the same thing that I was seeing, was this deer-faced woman in white dress that was tattered. It wasn't pure anymore by any means. It was covered in blood. It looked like it was completely disheveled. And it wasn't like she was... When she was in the wash, it looked like she was crawling towards us.
Oh.
When it was a night terror, completely clean dress, standing in basically the closet.
Ugh.
Staring
No, thank you.
right at you when you're in bed.
No.
In the wash,
That's no.
she's
I don't
crawling
like that.
towards you, and it kind of, like, if you're dreaming about her, she is crawling towards you and reaching out as if asking for help.
Mm-hmm.
That's
kind of sad.
Those were what I had from the horse-faced woman. Was like, she either looked like she really wanted your help, but it was still sort of a menacing vibe, or absolutely menacing, and it was a night terror.
Good God. Well, okay. That's crazy. And you said deer face, like, one more time, but you for sure mean horse face, right?
Well, to say for sure, it was high school, and it was the skull.
Okay. So the skull of something with a long face. So you told me that story, and I was like, well, that's weird. I wonder if there's any stories about a creature with a horse face. And so I typed it in. I Googled it. I Googled horse face lady. And guess what? There is such a creature. So she is the Sigua, la Sijahuet, la Siguanaba, or Sigua, or Siguanaba. It's a supernatural character, generally from Central American folklore, although there are stories about her from Mexico, too. She's a shape-shifting spirit that typically takes the form of an attractive, long-haired woman seen from behind. She'll lure men away into danger before revealing her face to be that of a horse or, alternatively, a skull, Cameron. The Siguanaba and its variants may have been brought to Latin America from Spain during the colonial period and used by the colonists as a means to exercise control over the indigenous and mestizo populations. So that one is one that they think maybe existed in Latin America. I mean, Spain.
And she always, it seemed like she wanted your help, but I always got the vibe that I needed to go to that tunnel that was near the house.
Mm-hmm.
So
a tunnel?
Yeah, you remember so in the wash that was next to our house, there's this tunnel. And we always kind of thought that something was living in there. That's why none of us either went there.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Oh, no, I totally thought something lived in there. It had a weird vibe.
I thought a predator was living in there.
I thought coyote or something.
So
yeah.
I never went there.
Something that would, like,
But I always got the vibe that this thing needs help and I need to go over there. But I'm absolutely not going over there. So the fact that you're saying that it was trying to lure men to help it to go to a place where it would then be in danger. Yeah, no, I never went. I wasn't going to play a hero there.
Good for you, man. Well, so, and there's a little bit of conflicting information because in one area, like Wikipedia says, you know, she maybe came over from Spain. But then there's an Aztec version, and I actually have a link to this, timkennebooks.com, and La Siguanaba, the horse-faced woman. Like, somebody wrote a book about this. So, Aztec influence. In Central America, the tale of La Siguanaba maintains close ties to the ancient Aztec religion. She may have originally been known as Sihuehuet, translating to beautiful woman. Sihuehuet was a peasant woman who possessed an unparalleled beauty that could captivate even the gods themselves, including Tlaloc, the Lord of the Storm. And I've heard of Tlaloc before. I think maybe Belief Hole did a story about him.
Baba Yaga used to mean peasant. So Babia
Oh, no way.
means peasant woman.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's why I kept the name Baba for Baba, my dog.
Aw.
She's
Because she's a little
a little
peasant?
peasant woman. She's a good dog.
Well, Siguanaba ensnared Tlaloc and bore him a child, but she apparently didn't have any maternal inclinations. She neglected the child and cheated on Tlaloc when he went to war. Driven by insatiable hunger for power, Siguanaba plotted to eliminate Tlaloc and usurp his divine throne. Crafting a poisonous plan, she intended to assassinate him, yet the scheme backfired when it transformed Tlaloc into a monstrous entity that wreaked havoc upon the community. Upon learning of her malevolent actions, Tlaloc sought aid from the mighty god Teotl. Teotl then cursed her with the epithet Siguanaba, meaning hideous woman. This curse warped her into the nightmarish figure with a horse-faced appearance. Her days are now spent laundering clothes by a river's edge while endlessly searching for her lost son, trapped in her grotesque form as punishment for her past misdeeds. Well, you were young, right?
I was young.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe she thought you were her son. That's weird. Because you were kind of at that in-between place, not really a man yet, still kind of a boy.
Yeah.
That's an interesting twist on your experience. Interesting. Maybe it was less like a sexual lure and more like, I want my kid. I don't know. Weird. So in Mexico, the legend of Siguanaba is present in almost the entire country. They call her Matlacihua, and we actually told the story of Matlacihua, and more popularly, the horse-faced woman. Some people even relate her to La Llorona. There's lots of testimonies and stories about her, and the common trait is that she can only be seen at night on lonely roads.
Yes.
Showing herself to night owls, partiers, womanizers.
Yes.
And I feel like you fit the night owl.
Night owl, not a partier, not a womanizer, and at the time, not a drunkard.
She presents herself as a woman with an attractive body, always seen from the back or walking away, and her face is usually either covered either by her hair or a veil. The victim is usually fascinated by her, and when he tries to approach her and tries to compliment and flirt with her, she'll at first ignore him, but then after a while, as the victim becomes more persistent, if he touches her, she'll turn around after a while and show her real face with big, bright red eyes. And she'll say things like, "Do I still look beautiful to you?" Or she'll say, "I also like you." In which case, the victim will usually scream and run away and swear to never drink again. If she touches them, they die shortly after. And again, this is specifically, she's supposed to, huh? What?
So she poses a question. What if they respond positively?
I don't know. Am I still beautiful to you now? If they said yes, what would happen? Would they be given a gift? Would it break a curse? Who's to say? I don't know, brother.
Odd.
So I have 2 experiences. These are from Reddit, and god damn it, I did it again. I forgot to leave one of the names. I have one of them, and I have the post. I have the link to the Reddit thread. There's a lot of them in Spanish. There's a lot of La Siguanaba posts that are written in Spanish, and I translated some of them, but they're so long, it was just too much for me. And actually, at least one of them that I did was really old. It was 3 or 4 generations back. This one is recent. So the Redditor is Dreams562, and they say, "This story took place in El Salvador. There's this woman they call La Siguanaba. This woman is known to lure men who tend to be out late at night, and to the unfaithful ones as well. She lures men with her attributes. She's been seen practically nude from the top. As she lures them with her body, she takes them away with her to a lonely place and eventually ends up turning into a skull form on her face."
Context 2, I used to be up until daylight. So I was
Really?
absolutely a night owl.
Oh my
There were
God.
times that I'd go to school a couple of hours after I had gone to sleep.
Ugh.
So
Damn,
like
dude.
even back then, I was a night owl. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really sleep.
So she starts laughing when she scares them, and a lot of men have ended up crazy and even dead after having encounters with her. This one time, my cousin and his girlfriend decided to meet up at a spot late at night. I'm sure you guys know what they had in mind, and they make a winky face. They agreed to see each other after everyone was asleep, which was around midnight. My cousin was waiting for his girlfriend when, from far away, he noticed a woman covered up from her face.
That's weird for bingo night.
My cousin figured it was his girlfriend hiding her face so nobody would see her sneaking around. He walks up to her and starts caressing her, and out of nowhere, she turns and her face is a skull. He pushes her away, and that's when he noticed that she was nude and it wasn't his girlfriend. He started running away back home, and from far, he said he's running. He heard her laughing so loud at him, saying,
I have you.
He said never again did he want to go out at night. Next day, he tells his girlfriend, and she assured him it wasn't her. She actually wasn't even able to sneak out that night due to her parents staying up late that night. So that's that one. And these are from 5 years ago, so they're pretty recent. So here's the last one. My grandparents had built a building on Main Street, which was close to a river. My aunt told me she just remembered vaguely that she needed to go to the bathroom late one night. Mind you, the 3 bathrooms were on the end of the building. When she opened it, she thought it was my grandma sitting down with her hair in front of her face, looking down. But when La Siguanaba started to look up, the horse snout started to appear, and it started laughing, neighing. She says she was frozen and couldn't run, but managed to get away. She said La Siguanaba never moved, though. My aunt was crying hysterically and didn't want to look at anyone. My uncles and aunts thought she had saw La Llorona, but they couldn't figure it out till she finally wrote it down several days later. My uncle tells me that they had to take her to the doctors, but they thought that due to shock, that was why she couldn't speak. So being superstitious, they ended up taking her to a Mayan shaman, and I guess they gave her a remedy to drink that surprisingly worked. So then that very same day, she was able to talk again. They got stories from El Sombreron all the way to El Cadejo. El Sombreron. Huh. Is that like Hat Man in Spanish?
Yes.
What?
El is male and sombrero being hat. Yeah.
Sombrero is hat, and sombreron meaning man. So like
El
a
is
hat man?
masculine.
Holy crap! So El Sombrero all the way to El Cadejo. I don't know who El Cadejo is, but I'm going to be looking that up later. Creepy shit. The worst thing I've ever experienced in Guatemala was staying with my cousins, and they woke me up to hear a man. He says, El hombre sin cabeza, which I think means man without a head, who would pass with horses and a carreta dragging chains a few times a month. Never saw it, but those sounds still haunt me today when I hear horses galloping or chains being dragged. I don't know what kind of life you live, sir, hearing like horses and like chains being dragged all the time, but like that's weird to me, man. That's weird. But he said he didn't see the man without a head, but the man without a head did pass by their house making all these crazy ass noises. I'm going to look at El Hombre Sin Cabeza as well, because that sounds like a pretty interesting one. And that's it. That's all I got. Those are my stories. That's the research I did. What do you think, brother?
It's eerie. And it still leaves many questions unanswered. So, like, I was a pubescent teenager, so, like, it could have been, but...
Oh, you mean, like, sexual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since the first time I saw her, it was from the back. But I saw that skull, and she kept appearing to me. I mean, granted, I didn't run away terrified. I was in my bed, or I saw her in the desert, and I wanted to help her. You know, the horse face, neither here nor there. I knew that spiritual entities existed, so maybe she needed help. But I don't know. It's just odd.
And it was pretty clear to you that it was a spirit, like, the whole time?
Well, yes. Either I
Okay.
saw her in my night terrors, so
Right.
what I assume are my dreams. I saw her sort of translucent as if in my mind's eye, or I saw her straight up like in a dream. I never saw her as if she were standing in front of me like a real person.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's crazy. What I think lends credibility to it, like, A, you're my brother, and I know you're not making stuff up, but B, the fact that we didn't even know that this was an actual legend
No,
until
yeah,
I looked it up.
I always thought it was kind of like
it was just some really weird experience
Yeah.
you had. Yeah.
I was always defending the fact that it wasn't La Llorona, or Chorona is apparently how it's pronounced.
Llorona.
Yeah, apparently
La
it's
Llorona.
La Chorona,
Okay.
like a CH almost.
Okay. I don't know. So maybe it depends on the accent and like where
Yeah,
you're
maybe.
like from, because I've definitely heard La Llorona. But anyway, so yeah. I mean, does it creep you out even more realizing that this is like an actual, there is something to back up that experience you had?
Kind of just makes me more curious because it was never really. While it felt malevolent, it wasn't malevolent. I felt an urge to respect it in that it could end me, but it didn't feel like it wanted to end me. The only time that I felt like I was actually threatened was when I heard the baby crying.
Oh. And that was a different encounter,
That was
right?
a totally different encounter.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything, which was another reason why I felt threatened. If I knew where the sound was coming from, I wouldn't have been as threatened. But the fact that I didn't know where it was coming from, the fact that it was so close, me and whoever I was with at the time, I don't fully remember, we both felt like we shouldn't progress any further. We were like, okay, well, no.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, for me, the fact that you feel like it was like, well, it had, what did you say? It was like malevolent, but didn't necessarily want to hurt you.
It
felt
didn't
like that way,
feel
and
like it
didn't
had
actually...
malicious intent, but it felt
Right.
like I was in danger.
I wonder if sometimes it's not the entity, it's like the plane where the entity is stuck, you know, like thinking about that lady.
Or the man in the hat.
Or
for
the man in the
instance,
hat.
you get that vibration
Well,
that just inspires fear.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. When we talk about Perchta, she seems like she's actually, I mean, I don't know a lot about her, but she didn't actively do anything bad as far as I can tell from the stories. This is the Czech Republic white lady in white, you know, but she was cursed. Does she have a malevolent vibe because of that really negative energy that was sent to her that pulled her down into a more negative plane? So, like, when people see her, do they feel that vibration? But does it mean it's necessarily her? It's a question, and it makes me wonder, if you have an experience with this creature and it feels real wicked and dangerous, but it didn't actually hurt you, like, is it the being that's dangerous, or is it some other aspect of it that's sending you that feeling? It's interesting. It's a question.
It's a question. I kind of feel like I don't think I was in danger.
Yeah.
I think that this leads to more questions than answers. Is where I feel like this is.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's, I hate to say it, but it kind of feels like it builds on the lore of Mom, what she said about me being born, and Freddy Krueger saying that I would be born.
Right.
You know, so I kind of feel like we could do a story on Skinwalker Ranch and how some of their people that have walked away from there have continued to experience things because they say there are experiencers and there are conduits. There are people that want to feel these things and people that do feel these things.
Interesting. I'd like to explore that further. I mean, yeah, if we could do the next episode on skinwalkers, that would be cool.
Well, not
Let's do
skinwalkers. That's kind of overdone. I kind of feel like
specifically
Skinwalker
Skinwalker
Ranch?
Ranch?
Would be a better one because that's not.
Okay.
I'm not convinced that those are actually skinwalkers.
That are on Skinwalker Ranch? Really?
Yeah, I think that's just a whole different thing. I think that
Huh.
place is just a portal.
Well, some weird shit is supposed to go down there, like a lot.
A lot of weird shit.
All right. Well, I do have to get going. I got some set up for a kids' party that I'm hosting here. I have to go. I have to be there at
Woohoo.
12:30. So I feel like this was a really good episode. I had a lot of fun with this one. Cameron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
I had a good
things to
time.
continue to explore.
I know.
This
just
was
feels like
an
the deeper I
open-ended
get.
question, is what this episode was.
Yeah. Like the deeper I dig into it, the more things I'm finding, and it's so exciting because I feel like we cracked it open. Like I had so much of a hard time finding stuff for the first few episodes. Like the research was ridiculously hard, but it's getting easier. Like now I know what to look for and a link to this and a link to that and a link to that. And it's crazy. I mean, it's just cool. But anyway, so thank you, murderers, for hanging out with us and listening to all these different legends and stories about predatory women ghosts, predatory female ghosts. I hope you had as much fun as we did. And again, if you have a story to tell, if you've got something that you want to share with us, you can reach us at wanderingcrowpodcast@gmail.com.
And please, we are
And-
hungry for firsthand knowledge.
Love it.
Anybody who has stories, please, even if it's not much, just give
Please
us
share.
a little snippet. We will include it in the next episode with others. It
Heck
doesn't
yes.
need to be much.
Absolutely. Agreed. All right. Well, I'm going to head out. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Should we do the thing?
Oh, yeah.
This has been another episode of The Wandering
Wandering
Crow.
Crow.